Hello, everyone. We will begin our service with the ringing of the temple bell. At this time, please silence your cell phones and listen quietly as the sounding of the kancho is an invitation to settle our hearts and minds as we prepare to receive the Dharma. Thank you. Good evening, and welcome to our annual Ho'onko Candlelight Service. A special warm aloha to our guest speaker, Reverend Kevin Kuniyuki, for zooming in from Oahu to be with us this evening. As explained by Reverend Blaine, Ho'onko is a memorial service for Shinran Shonin, the founder of Shin Buddhism, who was born on May 21st, 1173, and attained birth in the Pure Land on January 16th, 1263. Ho'onko literally means Dharma gathering for acknowledging indebtedness, and is observed to express our deep gratitude to Shinran for sharing the life-giving and life-transforming Nembutsu teaching. I am Darren Katayama, and I will serve as your MC for this service. Assisting with technical support is our Zoom crew of Alan Matsumoto, Joey Guzman, and Lynn Katayama. Corinne Chong is our organist, and Betty Takeoka will lead the singing. And on a personal note, this is one of my favorite services, the ambience of the temple with the candlelight, the feeling of deep reverence. I know we'll all enjoy tonight's service. At this time, please rise and let us start the service with the Vandana and T. Sarana led by Reverend Blaine. Please sing both the Pali and English parts together with him.
Namandavs, 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 Namandavs.
Please be seated. It is now time for the offering of incense. We invite all Sangha members in attendance to please come up and offer incense if you wish, starting with the front rows and moving towards the back. Please use both incense burners. In honor of Shinran Shonin, Reverend Blaine will perform a special ritual called the Toraiban and Goraiban ceremony. In the Toraiban ceremony, the priest ascends the ritual platform. Please sit quietly and observe with a feeling of oneness as Reverend Blaine holds the handled incense burner and performs 3 kneeling bows, ascends the Raiban, anoints his robes and vestments with powdered incense, and then offers incense to Amida Buddha. Reverend Blaine will then ring the kei and chant the Jusan, or Gatha of Praise, written by Shinran Shonin, followed by an aspiration, after which he will ring the kei to lead us in the chanting of the sutra Sanbutsuge, followed by Nembutsu and Eko. The Buddha of infinite light and life made vows to embrace all beings equally without exception. These vows promise to create a perfect world where no suffering or evil exists, and guide us to supreme enlightenment. The Sanbutsuge is a poem from the larger Pure Land Sutra, in which Amida Buddha, as a bodhisattva, praises his teacher and makes his 48 vows to establish the Pure Land of enlightenment for the welfare and happiness of all beings. We chant the words of the Buddha as a reminder of these great vows made to awaken all beings. The Sanbutsuge is found on page 47 of the Red Service Book and also on the screen. Again, page 47 of the Red Service Book.
shi shou sen ki no gu sai shou shi me u nen i chin yong ung yo go gu set so gu shit en yu xing ong ong ji mo yu shou yu san zhou yun ong jing yi jing shi gu shi xing ye. We gather before the shrine of Amida Buddha as companions in the Dharma and fellow travelers on this journey of life. During this Goshoki Hoonko observance, we honor the life and legacy of Shinran Shonin, who illuminated for us the path of universal awakening through the Nembutsu. Reflecting on Shinran's words from the hymns of the Dharma ages, such is the benevolence of Amida's great compassion that we must strive to return it even to the breaking of our bodies. Such is the benevolence of the masters and true teachers that we must endeavor to repay it even to our bones becoming dust. With heartfelt gratitude, we adorn the altar with offerings, expressing our deep appreciation for the all-embracing wisdom and boundless compassion of Amida Buddha that sustains our lives. We sincerely thank Shinran Shonin and the Pure Land Masters for sharing this profound, life-giving teaching with us. Let us aspire to listen to the Buddha Dharma with not just our ears, but with our entire being. May we strive to embody those teachings in our thoughts, through our words, and by our actions for the benefit of all beings. May we continually take refuge in the Buddha, the one who guides us in this life, in the Dharma, the way of understanding and love, and in the Sangha, the community that lives in harmony and awareness. Entrusting ourselves to the dynamic working of infinite light and life, let us walk together on the great Nembutsu path in gratitude, joy, and awareness. With deep reverence, I remain. Shishoke Ujinda 시시 진도금은요 그근고나이 시에 진묘 고묘이소 신도 나이센 간가 사무 사이쇼 가도쇼지 니풍게 나츠프세조이 가이닝 쇼징 뇨세 삼마이 시에 이조 고세 도그붓 불교싱한 이사잉응으 이사다이안 예시음은 야그센 노그만 무녀다이쇼 신여고자 그요 이사이 시토쇼붓 분여그도 겐쇼풍약 인여고자 쇼붓생아이 무풍강에 무시셋도 고묘시쇼 헨시쇼 고근요세쇼징 이진난요 룡아사무즈 고그도 다이치 고시깅요 도조초셋 고근요 나이온 니무토소 가토 아이밍 도닷니사이 제포라이쇼 신넷쇼조 이토가곡 게라그 안논 고분신묘 생하신쇼 헛간노히 이기쇼쇼욕 제포세송 지혜문예 조려시송 징가신요 개려신시 쇼그도그즈 낙요쇼징 닌즈프게 나만나무 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 간니싱은 너그 묘노세이사이 노헛모나이싱 오조의 안
In the Go-Raiban ceremony, the priest descends from the ritual platform. Reverend Blaine will offer incense, return the ritual implements, descend from the Raiban, and perform one kneeling bow. Please join your hands in Gasho and let us recite the Nembutsu together with Reverend Blaine.
Namandab, 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 namandab.
Please rise for singing of the Gatha Shinran Shonin. Words can be found on page 174 of the Purple Praises of the Buddha Gatha book and on the screen. Again, page 174 in Praises of the Buddha.
Softly sighs the gentle breeze at the window bright, as I place my hands together in the morning light. Namu Amida Butsu, oft do I repeat. Shinran Shonin comes to me with a smile within. By my side he strengthens me as each day I begin. As an evening storm may shroud twinkling stars so fair, when the glow of hope is shadowed by a dark despair. Namu Amida Butsu, oft do I repeat. Shinran Shonin comes to me with a beacon bright. night. While I journey day by day, life of joy and pain, should I anguish o'er my mortal loneliness in vain? Namu Amida Butsu, oft do I repeat. Shinran Shonen comes to me, so a friend to be. Life's companion, he will be until eternity.
Please be seated. Tonight, I am honored to introduce our guest speaker, Reverend Kevin Kuniyuki, retired Hawaii Kyodan minister from Oahu, who will deliver his message via Zoom. Reverend Kevin was born in Honolulu in 1955 and is a graduate of Waipahu High School and the University of Hawaii, Manoa. From 1977 to 1992, he was an instructor at UH Manoa in the Department of Electrical Engineering. During much of that time, he also worked as a computer consultant. After UH Manoa, for the next 2 years, he worked as an instructor at the UH Hilo Continuing Education and Community Service Program. Reverend Kevin began his ministerial journey in 1994 when he obtained his Tokudo at Nishi Honganji in Japan. In 1996, he graduated from Chu Bokyu Gakuen, received his Kyoshi, and became an associate minister at Hawaii Betsuen. The following year, he was assigned as resident minister of the four-temple council consisting of Honomu, Honohina, Papaloa, and Papaiko Honganjis. He served there for 5 years before moving to Wahiawa Honganji as its resident minister in 2002. After serving at Wahiawa for 10 years, he was appointed as the director of the Buddhist Study Center and Office of Buddhist Education until his retirement in 2021. Please give a warm welcome for Reverend Kevin Kuniyuki.
Well, thank you, Darren. Let me double check. How's my sound? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, coming in good.
Okay, good. And actually, I must agree with you. I forget how long ago, but I was a guest speaker for your folks' Honko Candlelight service some years ago, and it is a beautiful tradition, and I'm glad you folks are maintaining it. So yes, it is one of my favorite services, Aaron. So in any case, what I'm going to do is I'm using PowerPoint now to assist me in my presentations. And what I've been doing lately, anyway, is to try and connect the dots between Buddhism and the teachings of Jodo Shinshu. So let me give it a try here. Okay, I'll be sharing my screen. How is it, guys? Okay?
Yep, looks fine.
Okay. Okay. So, of course, we are honoring Shinran Shonin. Because if it wasn't for the teachings of Shinran Shonin, we wouldn't have a way for us to live a life that is at peace with oneself, at the world, and following the Buddhist values that was set down by Gautama Buddha. Okay, so Shinran was a priest and scholar. So he explained his written teachings using scriptural citation and commentary. As a result, he did not specify what practical values and points of view one should have in everyday life. Yeah, and that is why many times it might be mysterious for some of our members. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. The Nembutsu way of life is something very powerful. And as it has been said, one does not have to know the theory to live the life of Nembutsu. But as everyone in America is aware, we're taught to be critical thinkers. Well, I'm hoping that we're not losing that in this day and age. Yeah. But we're taught to think about things before we accept them. Yeah. And maybe this is one of the things that was missing in Buddhism in America. So I'm trying to make my own contribution to it. So let's make a distinction here. Shinnan's writing is important. And in fact, he wrote both scholarly and poetic writings because he himself, as a scholar, realized that, after all, Buddhism is a religion, right? So his wasang, for example, his poems, you know, and you heard Reverend Blaine recite one of his poems in English, but the poems are works of art that appeal to the emotion and the spiritual side of us. And his realization was spiritual and emotional. A classic example of it is the story of his encounter with Kannon Bosatsu at Rokkakudo. It is said that after 20 years of hard practice, he had come to a point where he was at a loss. What to do? I still have not rid myself of my bonno, my religious practice, my scholarly studies have not addressed my suffering caused by my three poisons. Yeah, so he went down from Mount Hiei down to Kyoto to Rokkakudo and meditated for 100 days. And during that time, he had a vision of Kannon Bosatsu. Yeah. Think about that. Okay. It's a religious experience, guys, right? You could say maybe Shinran was hallucinating or something like that, but it was a religious experience, where the guidance he received is that he needed to find a teacher. And the insight that he received was that it was Honen Shonin. And that's where he had a clarification on a portion of Mahayana Buddhism called Pure Land Buddhism. And that's where he found his way. And here's the thing, though, there are rare indications of Shinran's process of realization in his commentaries, etc. Yeah, and they are reinforced by his wife and works like the Tanisho. Yeah. Go ask Reverend Blaine about the Tanisho. There's some really neat stuff in there. Yeah, and but there's no let's put it this way: Shinran Shonin did not write a manual on how to live your life. Okay, guys. Yeah, so I think what it is important, is for those of you who are searching to work with your ministers and your teachers to find an answer based on Shinran's teachings. So one of the things I want to share with you, and sometimes people dismiss it, but I think we need to take it a little bit more seriously. There's something called the collected works of Shinran, which the thing is, it's not easy reading. And although people claim that the Bible is easier to read, you go try and read it. Yeah. It's in Old English. Yeah. So people have to study. Yeah. So just as Christians have Bible study, what I'm glad to see is that at the temples they're developing Dharma studies. Yeah. Doesn't have to be technical. It can be very much based on everyday problems though. Yeah. But again, let me share with you something that perhaps could help you in with your own um, understanding of Shinran's teachings. Okay, one way of thinking of a Buddhist spiritual path is a journey on the middle path of balance. Now, middle path can have many different significances, okay? But what I want to share with you is that there is both the spiritual and the emotional, and the rational and methodological, okay? Spiritual and emotional is the path or is the aspect that Pure Land Buddhism is all about. Okay. And this balance between the practice of Buddhism, yeah, and the spiritual and emotional is developed through Nembutsu awareness. Now, keep in mind, those of you who went to Dharma school, okay, one of the elements of the Eightfold Path is mindfulness, and awareness is mindfulness. And Nembutsu awareness is the Shin Buddhist way of being mindful and aware. Okay, so let's go and pursue this middle path a little bit more. Nembutsu awareness addresses our spiritual and emotional health. We'll be getting to that soon, guys. And the practice of Buddhism addresses our everyday living. In other words, how do we address that which makes us suffer? Because for Gautama Buddha, that was the primary problem in life. Yeah, and he was a very rational person, and he figured out a way to address the problem. Okay, so let's go on. So let me lay out some aspects of the practice of Buddhism. Number one, as I was mentioned to you, the goal of Buddhism is to relieve suffering. Many times, we're given all this theoretical stuff, right? And we forget that that's beginning with Gautama Buddha. That was the goal of Buddhism. Yeah. And how do you relieve suffering is through the Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path. Now, the Four Noble Truths is a problem-solving method. Number one, what is the problem? Number two, what causes the problem? Number three, how do you address the problem? And number four, what are the practical steps in which you address it? Okay. Problem, suffering. Cause, the three poisons. Now, those of you who went Dharma school, can you tell me what the three poisons are? Okay. Anybody got it? The simple way of thinking about it is gas, greed, anger, and stupidity. Now, those are simplifications. Greed is actually attachment. All kinds of attachments. Being greedy is an attachment. Being jealous of other people's things is attachment. Wanting more of what you cannot have anymore is an attachment. Can you see where that causes suffering? Yeah. Anger actually comes in various levels. It can start with feeling uncomfortable. I'm feeling uncomfortable with a situation. I don't like the situation. I hate the situation and it pisses me off. Okay, so finally, ignorance. It's not really stupidity. Come on, guys. Yeah, I know nobody's stupid, but ignorant means you don't know things. Yeah. So ignorance causes suffering in many different ways. If we're ignorant of the teachings, then we don't know that our problem is suffering. Yeah. If we are ignorant of the right situation, the true reality of a relationship we can mess it up by getting angry about things that never happened. Have you ever done that with a friend? You misunderstood and you got angry at them later on. Oh, okay, I was wrong. But that's suffering. Okay, and then there's the Eightfold Path. Okay, I'm gonna leave the Eightfold Path to Reverend Blaine. You guys can ask him. He's an expert. Okay. Now, number two, important because it comes under, well, it actually comes under Eightfold Path. You have to view the world in a certain way. And the right view is everything is interdependent. In other words, the ego says that I control everything, I do everything for myself, I'm a self-made person. But that's not real. If you eat food, you are dependent on the lives of the plants and animals. You know? To exist in the world, you gotta depend on other people. Your ego tells you that you've done everything. When you think about it in this world, everything you have was made by somebody. Even you paid money for it, but even the money you got, okay, was from your job. You're dependent on your job. But you see how there's this interweaving dependency. And when we can realize that, something will develop in our view. Hey, you know what? I am interdependent. Therefore, I should be grateful. Okay, we can develop that a little bit later. Another worldview that Buddhists value is that everything changes. We may say this with our mouth, but do we accept when things change? I don't know about you, but sometimes when something changes, I get upset. Okay. If something doesn't go the way I want, that's a change. Yeah. I can either accept it and work with it or suffer and get upset. Yeah. The most tragic one is when you love, you lose somebody you love. Death is a change. Yeah. You can accept it and go on with your life, or you can be stuck with the grief. And Shinbudo has a lot to say about that. We can mention that later. Number four, a community value is to live in the middle way. You are not always right. The answer can be found somewhere in the middle of two sides of an argument. That's another interpretation of middle way. Yeah. And finally, never forget, yeah, that for our Sangha, our Shin Buddhist Sangha, our community value is wisdom and compassion. That is the very embodiment of Amida Buddha. Yeah. We cannot be like Amida Buddha, but we can strive to honor the wisdom and compassion by doing things in our own way that is empathetic, compassionate, and we can strive to address the problem of ignorance, learn as much as we can, and be open, yeah, to receiving information from everybody and everything. Okay, let's go on. Now, this is important. Within the Nembutsu way of life, there are three awarenesses, which is actually a form of mindfulness again. Okay, awareness is mindfulness. Okay. There is self-awareness. That's a hard one. Okay. Self-awareness is having a realistic view of oneself. In other words, yes, you're not perfect, but yes, you do have strengths. Yeah. You embrace your strengths and you work with it. You also embrace your weaknesses and you work to improve on them. Yeah. And you don't turn away from your imperfections. Yeah. Now, let's be very honest, guys. It's hard to accept yourself as a person that gets angry at inappropriate times, as a person that judges others unjustly. Yeah. But if one can see oneself with self-awareness without beating oneself up, then that is the road to personal growth. Dharma awareness is another very important aspect. Okay, in Shin Buddhism, there's a technical term called mompo, deep listening. Yeah, and that's what you're doing right now. Okay. But let me caution you, Dharma awareness or deep listening isn't just listening to the minister's Dharma talk. Yeah. It's the ability to find lessons in life. Yeah. To be and actively pursuing the Dharma, not only in talks, but in books and in discussion groups. Yeah. That's developing your Dharma awareness. And finally, something that maybe has not been emphasized enough, but was a realization that was pointed out by Renyo Shonin. Okay, we are honoring Shinran Shonin. Yeah, as you face the altar, Shinran Shonin is on the right, but as you face the altar, Renyo Shonin is on the left. And he brought out that an important aspect of the Nembutsu way of life is gratitude awareness. It's a part of honoring interdependence. Yeah. Because if we are aware that we are a part of the world, that we receive many things, of course we contribute to it. Yeah, but it's a never-ending circle of gifts, yeah, of receiving and of giving. And when we are aware that we really receive so much, yeah, then gratitude arises within our hearts. And that is the one of the most important things of a Nembutsu way of life. So let's kind of recap here, but very, very briefly. Shinran Shonin gave us a way to live our spiritual journey. Shakyamuni Buddha, Gautama Buddha gave us teachings that is a basis for our Buddhist practice. One of the mistakes that some people make is to think, well, since I'm embraced by Amida Buddha, then I don't have to strive to live by Buddhist values and practices. That's wrong. Okay. If you're a Buddhist, you live by Buddhist values, which I had, some of them I had summarized for you. Yeah. And they can help to make your life better. Okay. Actually, yes, since I'm kind of extemporizing here, I've already said what's on the screen. Shakyamuni Buddha gave us the teachings, yeah, as a way to address the problem of suffering. While Shinran Shonin's teachings showed us a way of realization despite being unable to perfectly do the hard practices of Buddhism. Now, let me address you folks directly. Okay, guys, here's the summarization of Shinran's teachings. Okay, it is something that exists within the teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha, right? Four Noble Truths, Eightfold Path, address our suffering and address the suffering of others at the same time. Wisdom and compassion. Okay, but sometimes it's so hard to do it. Yeah. So the Pure Land way of life, the Nembutsu way of life, is to realize that life is not something that you perfect. Life is a journey of self-development and growth. Yeah? But it's not a journey that you do alone. Like the song says, who's with you? Shinran Shonin. Yeah. And finally, never forget, look at the center of the altar. Amida Buddha is the embodiment of perfect wisdom and compassion. Now, Set this firmly within your mind. Strive to live empathetically, strive to live compassionately, guided by Buddhist principles. Yeah? But if you fail, you're never rejected. Okay? Amida Buddha is not a judge. Amida Buddha is that which gives you the strength to live your life. Yeah? Amida Buddha is unconditional love. Think about it. If someone loves you unconditionally, do they tell you, I love you, but no, I simply love you. Okay? That's Amida Buddha. And Amida Buddha, along with Shinran Shonin, is always pointing the way for you to a life of fulfillment, development, and a life shared together. Remember, interdependence. Yeah. So be appreciative of your family, your friends. Yeah. Share this life together. Help and support each other. Yeah, you guys have a wonderful Sangha. And as you do the candlelight service, and as the light is shared from one candle to the other, that is an expression of the circle of interdependence. One light can light 1,000 lights. Okay? So I leave you with that message. Thank you very much. And thank you for bearing with me. There are some things I wanted to share with you, and I hope they were meaningful. At this time, please join me with hands together in Gassho. And let us share in the saying of the Nembutsu that embodies all wisdom and compassion, and it is our expression of gratitude. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandam, namandam, namandam. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you for your Ho'onko message, Reverend Kuniyuki. Marty Lo will now lead us in the unison reading of the Creed 1. Words can be found on page 4 of the Jodo Shinshu service book and on the screen. Again, page 4 of the service book. Please join him in reciting the words out loud.
We rely upon Amida Tathagata with our whole hearts and for enlightenment in the life to come, abstaining from all sundry practices and teachings and giving up the trust in our limited self. We believe that the assurance of birth comes at the moment in trust, and we call the Namu Amibutsu in joy and gratitude for Buddha's compassion. We also acknowledge gratefully the benign benevolence of our founder and the succeeding masters who have led us to believe in the profound teaching, and we do now endeavor to follow throughout our lives the way laid down for us.
Thank you, Marty. We'll now have the offertory presentation. Thank you, everyone, for your generosity, which helps sustain our temple. It is now time for the candlelight ceremony. For those of you here in person, please rise and line up along both sides of the center aisle, starting from the front. Please take your handouts for the words to the Gatha Ondoku-san, gratefulness. Candles will be distributed to the Sangha. Those of you on Zoom, please get your candle ready and be very careful to secure it. Or you can turn on your cell phone flashlight and then darken the area around you by turning off or dimming overhead lights or lamps. Here is an explanation of what will occur during this ceremony. First, the lighting of the candles will occur, starting from the front of each line and then to the end. Then Minister's Assistant, Linda Nagai, will read a selection from the Gobunsho, which are a collection of letters written by Renyo Shonin, the 8th spiritual leader of the Honganji, over 500 years ago. These letters summarize and clarify the essence of Shinran's teaching. Reverend Assistant Minister Linda Nagai will read the Gobonsho, Shonin Ichiryu no Sho, or the tradition of Shinran Shonin, in the traditional Japanese and in English. After the reading of the Gobonsho, we will sing the Gatha Ondok-san, Gratefulness. We will close the candlelight ceremony and the service with the singing of the Gatha Nembutsu. I will announce the order of the program during the ceremony. Let's begin the candlelight ceremony by starting the lighting of the candles. Linda will now read the Gobonsho, Shonin Ichiryu no Sho.
Shonin ichiru no gokanke no momuki wa shinjin no motte honto serare soro そのゆえをもろもろの造業を投げ捨てて一心に皆に奇妙すれば不可思議の眼力として仏の方より往生を事情ししめたもそのくらいを一年ぽっき入所女始終とも釈しその上の称名念仏った如来我が往生を定め玉井し言法人の念仏 Anakashiko, Anakashiko. What is taught in the tradition of Shinran Shonin is that the entrusting heart is essential. For when we abandon various practice and take refuge in Amida with the singleness of heart, our birth in the Pure Land is settled by the Buddha through the inconceivable vow power. The state we thus attain is described as with awakening of a single thought of entrusting. We join those who are in the state of the truly settled. Recitation of the Nembutsu thereafter should be understood to be the Nembutsu as an expression of gratitude for the Tathagata's benevolence for settling our birth in the Pure Land, humbly and respectfully.
Let's now sing the Gatha on Doksan gratefulness. Let's now sing. Let's conclude the service with the singing of the Gatha Nembutsu.
Vitsnamanda, 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 Vitsnamanda.
You may now extinguish your candles and return to your seats. Those of you at home, you may extinguish your candles or turn off your flashlights and turn your lights back on.
Help your mother. Jerry, you're not that old yet.
Oh, yeah. Afterwards, you can return to your seats. This concludes our Ho'onko candlelight service. Wasn't that a really nice service? Here are some announcements. Upcoming services, events, and reminders. Tomorrow, Sunday, January 11th, Ho'onko service will be held at the Holualoa Temple at 10 a.m. Reverend Blaine will share a Dharma message. There will be no service here at Konohonganji Temple. Sunday, January 18th, regular Dharma family service will be held at 10 a.m. Minister's Assistant Linda Nagai will share a Dharma message. Sunday, January 25, we will observe the 40th annual Ellison Onizuka and Space Shuttle Challenger Memorial Service at 10 a.m. We are grateful that through the efforts of Claude Onizuka, in conjunction with the Onizuka Memorial Foundation, our in-person guest this year will be NASA astronaut Donald R. Pettit. Sunday, February 1st, we will observe Nirvana Day service, which is Shakyamuni Buddha's memorial service at 10 a.m. Guest speaker will be Reverend Hirosato Yoshida from Soto Mission of Hawaii. A special heads up for February, there will be two major events. The first one, the general membership meeting and New Year's luncheon, which will be held on Sunday, February 15th at 10 a.m. Please mark your calendars and plan to join us for an informative as well as fun event. There will be lots of Ono food, games, and prizes. Number two, this year, Konohonganji will host the annual Big Island Gatha Fest on Sunday, February 22nd. I can finally make that one. Sangha members from around the island will be gathering here to share their selected songs. Once again, may we please ask for your kokua in hosting this big event, as well as in singing our own song. Let's all work together to put on a fun and memorable event. Reminders for those of you who have ordered and have not yet picked up the 2026 Hompa Honganji Mission of Hawaii calendar, please see Reverend Blaine tonight or stop by at the office to pick it up. Extras are available. The 2026 BDK Teaching a Day calendars are also available, and there are some at the front of the temple. Please help yourself. There is no charge for either of them. Let's see. Just to mention, the Holoaloa service will be Zoomed. So that's also something that if you can't make it in person, please join us via Zoom. Are there any announcements, Reverend Blaine?
Just thank you to everybody for coming out to this very special service as we honor Shinran Shonin and remember him and his teachings. Thank you to Reverend Kevin for joining us via Zoom and for sharing the Dharma with us tonight. Thank you. I also wanted to thank Molly for the tangerines that adorn the altar. Thank you very much. I want to recognize Joni Fujino for doing the altar flowers. The beautiful arrangements were done by her, especially for Ho'onko. So again, thank you, everybody. Also, big thank you to the BWA for making Zenzai. And so please join us for refreshments. And we'll have, so Zenzai, the reason we have Zenzai during Hoonko is because, according to tradition, Zenzai was a favorite of Shinran Shonings. And so this is why we serve and we enjoy Zenzai together as a Sangha. So, and also Darren forgot to mention that the song that we are singing was written by him. And what is the song?
It's in the tune of On a White Sandy Beach in Hawaii.
Yeah. Yeah. So we will be beginning our song practices very soon, Auntie Betty. So please join us as singers, but also as just help. We need a lot of help to put on this event. So we look forward to all these wonderful events coming up. Again, thank you for joining us. Mahalo.
Any other announcements?
No, I just found the one pearl around my seat. So in case someone missing one pearl, I will ask the office to hold on to it.
Anybody missing an oyster? Again, mahalo and aloha to our guest speaker, Reverend Kevin. Nice to see you. Those of you on Zoom, you may leave at any time. Those of you here in person, refreshments will be served in the social hall. Mahalo to the BWA members for preparing the Zenzai. Thank you also to Glenda, Yamagata Pasalakwa, Bart Aoki, and Marty Lowe, and anyone else who brought goodies to share, and to Betty Takeoka for preparing the altar rice balls. Your attendance this evening is very much appreciated. Please stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow at the Holualo Temple Hoonko service and at future services. Thank you very much.